Hi everyone, this is Roma. Today we are going to talking about the land of Gaza Strip, an issue that has consumed the lives of millions of people in the Middle East. Today we will be debating over who deserves the land and many other issues that have unfolded. Today there will be two debaters.
Hello, I'm Jamil, and I believe the land of the Gaza Strip belongs to the Palestinians.
And I'm Paul, and I believe the land belongs to the Israelis.
Thank you so much. Let's get right into it. Welcome to our discussion, where land, faith, legacy, and the conflicts over Israel and Palestine. Today, we're diving into the roots of one of the most world complex and emotional conflicts through the lens of religion. Specifically, we'll look at how Judaism and Islam shape the way each side sees history, identity, and the land itself. Joining me and Jamil and Paul, each bringing in a different perspective. Let's begin where it all starts, inheritance.
Let's go back, way back, because before politics, wars, borders, or militaries, there was Abraham. And Abraham had two sons, the first of which, Ishmael, born from Hagar, an Egyptian woman, and servant of Sarah, which was Abraham's wife. Some argue that because Ishmael was born from a slave, his claim to the land is lesser than Abraham's second child, Isaac. But let's be clear, in the traditions of the time, a child born of a man and his servant was still legally his child. Not just morally, not just emotionally, but legally. Ishmael was Abraham's firstborn child. And in the ancient world, the firstborn child inherited the birthright, the right to the land, the right to his money, the right to the wealth. Including the land. Some like to rewrite that history only focused on Isaac, Abraham's son with Sarah. But even the Torah and the Quran agree. Ishmael was Abraham's son, his blood, his seed, his family. The Quran honors Ishmael as a prophet. He is deeply respected in Islam, and Muslims like to trace their spiritual lineage through him. And many Palestinians see themselves as descendants, just as Jews see themselves as descendants of Isaac. So when we're going to talk about the land and who has the right to the land, let's remember that this isn't just about one covenant. It's about two sons, two lines, and two people born of the same father. Denying Ishmael's right is not only unjust, it's erasing an entire people from the state of the history.
Thank you, Jamil. Now for Paul's opinion.
Let's talk about inheritance, about lineage. Because yes, Ishmael was Abraham's firstborn son. But in God's eyes, Isaac was the chosen one. According to the Torah, the land of Canaan, which we now call Israel, was promised not just to any son, but to Abraham's son Isaac. In Genesis 17:19, God says to Abraham, "Your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his descendants after him." This is not just a vague blessing, it's a specific covenant, a divine promise. Isaac wasn't just another son, he was the child of promise, the one born through Sarah, Abraham's wife, not his servant. In Jewish tradition, the distinction is vital. The covenant wasn't based on birth order, it was based on divine selection. Isaac, not Ishmael, carries the covenant that includes the land. And yes, Ishmael was blessed. God promised him descendants and a great nation. Muslims honor him as a prophet, and rightly so. But the land, the promised land, was tied to a very specific relationship between God, Abraham, and Isaac. This isn't about erasing anyone, it's about honoring the story our faith tells. One people choose not to dominate, but to carry out a mission, to live in covenant with God in the land he promised. That land is Israel, and Isaac's descendants through Jacob through Judah are still living that promise today.
Both of your religion, Judaism and Islam, are rooted in this pursuit of peace. They teach compassion, justice, and the value of human life. So, how did the faith, something meant to guide us toward understanding, become such a powerful force in this conflict?
That's a fair question. Judaism does teach peace. It's one of our core values, but peace can't exist without security. Jews have been persecuted for centuries, exiled, enslaved, nearly wiped out in the Holocaust. So for many of us, Israel isn't just a religious land. It's a lifeline. Yes, we believe God promised us this land, but more than that, Israel is a place where we can finally live without fear. When rockets fall from Gaza, when our children hide in bomb shelters, that's not a religious war, that's survival. Religion for us gives us hope, identity, and in a sense, a home. But it's also used to justify our right to exist safely in a world that has so often tried to erase us.
And I understand that pain, but what about our pain? Islam also values peace. The Prophet Muhammad made treaties, even with those who fought with him. But Islam also speaks of justice. The Quran says, "Do not let the hatred of a people prevent you from being just." Palestinians are not just numbers or statistics. We are people. We are with homes, histories, and dreams. When we see our land taken, our movement restricted, and our sacred sites threatened, religion becomes a way to hold on to our identity in the face of erasure. Yes, some use Islam to justify violence, but so many of us use it to hold on to hope, dignity, and the belief that we're not forgotten.
So, here's the hardest question of all. If both sides believe they're divinely connected to the same land, can there ever really be peace? Or are we doomed to eternal conflict?
I still believe that we can get peace, but it won't come easy. For Jews, Israel is more than just a country, it's survival. After centuries of exile, persecution, and genocide, we finally have a homeland where we can live without fear. The land is sacred to us, yes, but so is life. Judaism teaches that preserving life comes before almost anything else, and that includes the lives of our neighbors. I want to see a future where Palestinians and Israelis live side by side, each with the freedom, security, and dignity. A two-state solution has been talked about for decades, but it only works if there's trust. And trust can't grow with violence and hatred, keeping us apart. Peace isn't just possible, it's necessary. But it requires both sides to recognize each other's pains and be willing to share not just the land, but humanity.
Thank you, Paul. Now for Jamil's take.
Peace is something we all want, but not at the cost of justice. Palestinians are not just fighting for land, we're fighting for the right to exist freely, to move without checkpoints, to worship without fear, to live without occupation. Islam teaches us to seek peace, but also to stand for justice. True peace doesn't mean silence under oppression. It means dignity, equality, and recognition. We're tired of being seen as a problem instead of a people. If peace means we have to give up our homes, forget our history, or stay silent while our rights are taken from us, that's not peace. That's surrender. But if peace means being treated as equals, if it means our children can grow up with hope instead of fear, then yes, we want that more than anything.
Maybe peace is possible, but it won't come easily or quickly. It means facing hard truth on both sides and accepting wounds that run deeper than politics. This conflict is about more than land or religion. It's about identity, history, and survival. Two wounded peoples, each guided by faith, with no simple answers and no easy peace. If we ignore the humanity behind the claims and the pain beneath the politics, the cycle of violence will continue no matter what scripture says. The urgent question is, can both stories exist even in conflict? Can understanding come before victory? Until then, peace will remain out of reach. This conversation doesn't end here. It's only the beginning.
We may not have all the answers, but at least we're still talking.
That's something to hold on to.